Okay, as we know, menopause is already hell. And then suddenly, everything your partner does starts to annoy you, trigger you, or completely overwhelm you. So today, we brought in Ozzie Osborne, one of our real and raw hosts on Menopause Love Lounge podcast. She is a relationship coach who helps individuals and couples interrupt unhealthy patterns and build secure, connected relationships by choice using attachment science and nervous system work. What's going on, girlfriend?
What's up? That sounded like a mouthful. I love it.
Well, but I love it because it's what you do, which is all so amazing and ties in today with what we're talking about because we're really trying to get to the bottom of all this menopause, right? Because we're feeling like we're in hell and the things that it is triggering and bringing on in us. So we're going to dive in. Tell me, how did you get into this work? Just give me a brief little rundown.
Ooh, what? Well, I will, first of all, thank you for having me today.
Yeah.
So I actually came into this work through my own healing journey after a divorce. Fun, right? There was a betrayal involved that was pretty massive. And at the time, I thought that something must be wrong with me. And I have to start to figure out what was going on with me that made someone not choose me. And that led
Mm.
me into deeper personal development work. And then I became really curious about my own patterns, my attachment, nervous system responses, and how we as human beings unconsciously recreate relational dynamics within a relationship. And so what
Ooh.
started as a personal healing became really a passion. And then it evolved into the work that I do today.
I love that. So that's kind of why you started focusing so much on the attachment part of it and the nervous system because you were trying to get yourself regulated and back on track.
Well, really, I was really
I
trying to
think.
figure out what's wrong with me.
She's
which
like,
which then I realized, wait, there's nothing wrong with me. There was
yeah,
an attachment style that I had developed at a very young age that created the pattern that determined how I viewed the world and how the
yeah.
world occurred to me.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
So if we were talking about menopause and the nervous system chaos that can cause, what do you think actually happens to a woman's nervous system during
Oh.
perimenopause and menopause?
With the hormones going all over the place, drop of
Mhm.
estrogen, what we were before, we cared so much about everyone relationally, right? We took
Yeah.
on everyone else's stuff, emotional burdens, we took on tasks, we took on things that were beyond our capacity. Enter menopause, perimenopause, and menopause, and postmenopause. Now all that drops, and then now we
Yes.
don't have that capacity or that bandwidth to handle relationship burdens, right?
Yeah.
And our nervous system, aside from all that, just with all the hormone changes and the fluctuations, then becomes we're just a lot more sensitive.
Yeah. That's interesting. Because I was going to ask you, why do you think so many women suddenly feel more reactive and sensitive or overwhelmed in their relationships? And it's because we have so
Yeah,
much going on with our bodies. We're all over the place.
yeah,
And it feels like we're trying to deal with stuff ourselves. And then we got to deal with everybody else and their problems and, you
yeah.
know,
Well, I also
spouses that
think
don't
our
understand.
exactly. And I also
Yeah.
think that our awareness sharpens as we
Hmm.
go through menopause. So even though we experience brain fog, we experience all these symptoms, but eventually our awareness is we sort of it's almost like as though we all of a sudden are no longer that attached. We're sort of removed from it and kind of look at our lives and how what our patterns have become. And we kind
Yeah.
of say, wait a minute, no more.
Yeah.
None of that,
Yeah.
right? And then we start to draw boundaries or we learn more about our capacity and our bandwidth. We learn about how what we've tolerated all this time.
Mhm.
And now we no longer want to tolerate it. And
Mhm.
so it all makes sense. Our nervous system then becomes very activated very easily
Mhm.
too. We're also irritated very easily, and therefore
Yeah.
we may not have as much patience with our significant others, our children, everyone around us,
Yeah. None.
right? My patience has really,
Really runs thin,
really run
doesn't
through.
it?
Yeah, yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
Yes. So how do you think, speaking of like attachment styles and you do a lot of attachment science, how do you think attachment styles show up more intensely during menopause?
Well, I think again with the awareness of what we can and can no longer tolerate, it's very apparent that there's certain things that, and again, with attachment styles, that gets developed at a very young age, right?
Yeah.
Between 0 and 2, it's sort of the beginning of how we attach to caregivers.
Yeah.
And so then all the way up to 7, when our identity becomes our identity,
Yes.
right? And then
Yeah.
we get to perimenopause, we go through a whole new shift in identity. And
Mm.
that changes and shifts our attachment styles.
Wow. So do you think the anxious ones and the avoidant ones get even stronger during this period of time?
Sometimes, right? And
Yeah.
sometimes it
Yeah.
sends us into doing some more personal internal work. And
Mm.
it has us recognize, wait a minute, I'm no longer this.
Yeah.
This is no longer my identity as someone who is an overtasker, someone who overfunctions, takes too much, right? Does everything for everyone. I'm no
Yeah.
longer willing to do that. And now I might see my partner or significant other as someone that where maybe before I was more anxious with
Yeah.
my partner, maybe now I'm not as anxious. Maybe now I'm more maybe I sort of detach from it a bit. I
Yeah.
don't know if it's a conscious thing right. I think for some people who do the internal work, it could become a conscious thing. But I think
Mhm.
a lot of this happens so quickly and so
Yeah,
internally.
you see coming.
And one thing I do notice is that what we're not learning is we're not learning to grieve the old self.
Mm.
Because again, as this identity shift occurs, and as we
Yeah.
see ourselves and as we see our roles that we play in relationship,
Yeah.
things shift, and we actually see an increase in separation, divorce around this time. So
Mhm.
again, it speaks to
Mm.
what we can and can no longer tolerate, and what we're
Yeah.
realizing about ourselves. And again, I think what's really missing is really learning how to grieve the old self.
Yeah. Wow. Let's talk about relationships as a mirror because you have said that relationships mirror our deeper patterns quite
Mm.
often. What do you think starts getting mirrored most in midlife when we're around this age where all this stuff is happening to us? What gets mirrored? Ugh.
Everything. I think everything gets mirrored. I think
Ah.
again, our security gets mirrored, our
Mhm.
again, our tolerance, our patterns, most importantly, and this is the biggest bulk of my work is to learn how to identify pattern in relationship.
Mm.
Our I think our patterns are a lot more in our face because we
Yeah.
have a little bit more awareness and maybe a little less patience for who we were before as we transition into this new self.
Mm. Do you think that menopause could actually become a doorway to like a deeper, more authentic relationship
Oh,
if we
100%.
utilize it correctly?
Yeah,
Right.
100%. I mean, I'm in circles of many women who are going through perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause,
Mhm.
and so women in midlife are for sure going through
Yeah.
this. For sure,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Do you think, or how do you think a partner could actually support a woman that is going through perimenopause or menopause without taking everything so personally? That would obviously help to grow the relationship if you're working together, right? And you're supporting each other. So how do you think a woman can actually get her spouse, partner, whoever it is, to kind of help on that angle?
Well, that's us putting more tasks on women to have to now teach their significant others
I
about it.
know.
I would say, and I obviously our audience is mostly women. I would
Yeah.
say what's missing is education for men. I think it's
Mhm.
super important for us to educate men on this season for women so they understand. To me, knowledge is power. And
Yeah.
so, in the circles that I run, we invite men into the conversation. We invite them to come and hear and understand and develop compassion, not just
Yeah.
tolerance. Because I think what happens with men is that they see their significant other woman go through menopause, perimenopause, menopause, and postmenopause, right? That they go through midlife
Mhm.
and
Mhm.
they don't understand it. And so they somewhat tolerate it, but then it gets swept under the rug. It's not really
Yeah.
talked about.
Yeah.
To me, it's all about conversation.
Mm.
Talk about it.
Yeah.
Women, talk to your men, talk to your significant others about what you're going through. Let them know how it feels. Let them know what you're experiencing
Yeah.
before that wave of rage or whatever comes about.
Frustration. Yeah.
Yeah. That's
Yeah.
that to me, that's super important. Having conversations and keeping them in the loop, you know, obviously it's not your job to be their teacher, to be their therapist, to be their right.
Mm-mm.
It's not your job to do any
Mm-mm.
of that. But
Mm-mm.
there's there's absolutely nothing wrong with having a conversation to give more information about what you're going through. I think that's important. And again, that inspires vulnerability.
It does, and I love that because I feel like conversation we're all so afraid to talk about things, right? What that's gonna make us look like, we're gonna have to be vulnerable, and when you can just open up and have a conversation with a partner who is genuinely there, wants to help you and support you, it can open up so many different facets of your relationship too, in so many other ways, and
Yeah.
so, yeah, I hate to even just zero in on just how it can help you through perimenopause and menopause, but, like, just in your relationship as a whole, it can make it so much better, if we
Yeah.
really
I do want
take
to
the
point
time.
out that we're not actually scared of having the conversation. We're scared of the meaning that we give the outcome
Mhm,
we think is going to
mhm.
happen. Mostly the meaning that if I say something to my significant other and they don't understand it, they'll drop me or I'll feel abandoned.
Yeah, yeah,
That intolerable feeling that we get when we have conversations with people, anyone,
yeah, yeah,
especially when matters of the heart is in front of us.
mhm,
It's never about the thing. We're women. We know how to ask for things. We know how to
mhm.
ask a question. We know how to have a conversation. But it's not that we are scared to have the conversation. We're really, if we're
Scared of the
speaking
response.
truth here, we're really scared of what we're making up in our minds about
Yeah,
what's going to happen. And
yeah,
again, that's a protective part that comes up for us that
yeah,
keeps us from having that experience of that intolerable, what I call the intolerable feeling. And that intolerable feeling is that feeling that you might have felt as a young kid where trauma might have happened or a
mm,
rupture happened in your household. Something happened
mhm,
that left you to feel alone with your pain.
mhm, mm. It's sad, it's hard, we have so much hope for how things can be, but it's scary along the way. It's
It's
very
so
scary.
scary. It's so
Yeah.
scary. But when you start to train your nervous system for safety
Mhm.
before an event happens, because
Mm.
we actually try to fix things during an event, during something, a
Yes,
rupture, right?
it's
During a
too late.
fight, during
Yeah.
something big happens. We try to figure it out then. It's nearly impossible because we're
Mhm,
in a state in our bodies where we're not able to learn anything new because what our body is doing is trying to protect you. You know, the body is
mhm.
trying to protect you in those moments. And when it's in protection mode, it's not, that's the only thing I could focus on.
Yeah, yeah. Huh, I love it. I love it. Alright, I have a 5-question lightning round for you, my friend. Just whatever comes to mind first,
Yeah.
okay? Okay, number 1, one relationship trigger that shows up most in midlife.
You said fast round for these? Oh my god.
I know. They're supposed
Okay,
to just
okay.
come to mind.
Yeah, gosh, there's so many. Um, 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 Not being heard.
Yes. That's a big one, isn't it?
Mhm.
It's hard to not feel heard. Okay, number 2, emotional safety means blank.
Feeling seen.
So we want both of those to be seen
Mhm,
and heard,
mhm.
right? Both of those. Number 3, secure love feels like blank.
Mm, like a warm bath in chocolate.
Ooh. It does,
Yeah,
it
yeah,
does. I mean,
yeah.
that's really a great answer because you do feel that when you're in a great place, it's like warm and snuggly. It just feels right? I love that.
Yes, and again, it's not when we're talking about a safe relationship, we're not talking about a relationship void of conflict. We're talking about a
Right.
relationship that feels like it's flowing, there's an opening, there is freedom in it, there is an
Mm.
opportunity to grow, right?
Yes.
It's not
Yes.
avoidance, it doesn't feel anxious, it actually
Yeah.
feels productive,
Number 4, one thing women need to stop apologizing for.
everything.
Boom. Number 5, one sentence every partner should understand about menopause.
It's not linear.
Ooh, I like that. That's a good one. Mm. See, nice 5 easy, quick questions.
Easy?
Easy, easy. So we all know that menopause can feel like everything is shifting at once, but sometimes those shifts are pointing us towards something deeper and more honest than we've ever lived through before. So we
Yeah.
kind of need to take it for what it can be, right? So before we wrap up, I've asked each of the women in the Menopause Love Lounge this one question. Menopause is hell, but it's also an invitation to what?
A deeper understanding of yourself,
Yes, it
an
is. We just
awakening.
need to own it. I love that. Awakening.
Mhm.
So we'd love to hear from you guys. DM us and tell us what makes you feel emotionally safe in a relationship and what doesn't anymore. You can find us on Instagram and TikTok at Menopause Love Lounge. And if you enjoyed listening to Ozzy Osbourne and myself, please join us in the lounge on the Menopause Love Lounge podcast, anywhere you get your podcasts. And if you want some more information on Ozzy, you can find us there as well. So thank you guys for joining us. Thank you, Ozzy, for coming on and having just a little chat with me today about menopause and what you do. I love that.
Oh, thank you for having me. It was fun.
Absolutely. All right, you guys, we'll see you later. Bye bye.
Bye.